All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Morning Edge webinar. And like I said, I've really got to cruise through the analysis this morning because we're going to have a couple guests here today. I'm excited to have Chris Bayer and Ed Matz here. We'll be talking about crude and the Canadian and probably a lot of other stuff too. So it'll be nice to have those guys here. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that I cover, our analysis of all the majors. So let me get those. Let me get those for you. Let's get those done for you right now. All right, so let's take the euro dollar. So again, here's the euro in consolidation. You notice how we're nudged right up against, what I would consider as key resistance. I was expecting us to come back down. This is still, very possible today. I doubt we're going to break out today. I have to say that because I just doubt that that today is going to be the day, and it may be that we break out of this triangle. But I don't think we're going to break this downtrend line, however. So key resistance today, and I'm going to write this down, is going to be the high from a couple of days ago, 109.67, which is 109.70. Okay, I doubt we're going to break this today. All right, we may test it, especially on a weak ADP or a weak ISM, but I doubt we're going to get any follow-through following ahead of NFP. Now, I may be wrong. Maybe the euro starts making a run before then, but I kind of doubt it. Now, if we get a dip, and I'm actually interested, just so you know, if we dip down here over the course of the next 24 hours to, like, let's say 108, let's just call it 108.40, I'm interested in being on the long side. So just let you guys know, if we get down there, 1.0840, I'll be support, and we're in a range. All right. Now, I don't think there's anything else to really say about that. I sound like Forrest Gump. I don't think there's any more to say about that. Sorry. I had to throw that out there. Okay. I love that movie. I do. Okay. Anyway, here's a cable. So, strong services PMI out of the UK. Okay, nice little breakout from this channel. It was holding us really well going into yesterday. I mean, you look at yesterday, and even look at even this morning. We were not knocking our head up against channel resistance, but then the PMI came out, right? Boom. Okay, so we're out of there now. Let's get rid of that because we were looking at resistance, inverted head and shoulder pattern, all that stuff. Okay, so now we're making our move, right? 38% retracement is right here, 145.20. You can see how we're knocking our head right up against resistance. I'm going to write down two resistance levels for the cable today. 145.20 because we're almost there. First of all, 145.20, and I'm going to do an extension on this move because this move stopped out a lot of people right here. That move right there stopped out a ton of people. 145.75 will be 161% extension. So we're in a range. We are in a range. We've gone from a bearish trend to a range over the course of the last couple of weeks. Most of you already know that. Support. Any dip now down to 44.40. Yeah, you're going to find buyers down there. Okay. Dollar Swiss. Here's the Swissy. All right. So the Swissy's coming off. One of the reasons why I sold the Canadian Swiss this morning, my long, I didn't like how the Swiss pairs were acting. You notice how the Euro Swiss looks a little toppy here. The dollar Swiss has also been pulling back. Okay, now remember, we're going to have really key support down here at 101.20. All right, you might even give it down to 101.15, but roughly right around here, 1.0120. Okay, this is all going to be pretty good support down here. All right, something like this. All right, resistance is 102.55 still. Like I said, I don't like how like the Euro Swiss looks a little top heavy here. We're still in a range there, but let me just show you real quick. I don't like how the Euro Swiss, you know, shows this little rejection here. Okay, we had no head and shoulder pattern. That never played out. I was hoping it would because I wanted to buy it cheaper, but I haven't looked at this in a while. But I was hoping that would break down so we could buy it down here. It just never happened. But if you look at the Euro Swiss, see how we got a little lower high? Okay, that spells to me that we'll, you know, probably revisit like the 110 area, which would be great. I would actually be on the long side down here if we can get it, you know. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Okay, let's go over to the yen. So I have exited my dollar yen short. Okay, I took my position off the table at 119.35 or so. Okay, and I was short. My cost average was like just below 121. It's like 120.90 or something like that, like somewhere around here where my cost average was. I'm out. Now, I want to show you guys something. All right, I don't want to delete everything, but okay, let's remove that. Let's remove that. Well, I'll remove that for now. I'll remove this too. Let's remove that. It's kind of removing some of this stuff. So we have given back almost all of our BOJ gains. Crazy, right? Especially when the BOJ goes negative interest rates, and all of a sudden we give back all of those gains. Okay. This is really critical support. I knew we were coming up to the 786 retracement. That's why I'm like, yeah, and the breakout point. It's all very, very, very critical support here. So 119, major, 119, 119.15, major support. If you guys want to get long the dollar yen, I mean, I know it's risky, especially ahead of ADP and ISM today, but if you want to get long the dollar yen, I mean, this is probably the place to do it. I am looking for, just to be clear, I am looking for a move like this over the course of the next couple of days. I want to be on the short side somewhere up here. I want to be on the short side somewhere up there. All right, I'm using that roughly. I'm not saying exactly that price. I'm just giving you like a kind of a rough estimate of what I'm looking for. I have closed out all my yen longs, which it was really nice. I have to admit I was shorting it all right through here, dollar yen, shorted all those yen pairs. Those were really small, and when I got out of all of my other yen markers, I had them as markers. I never added to them. They ended up being pretty flat because I took a loss in like the New Zealand yen. I took a loss in the pound yen. I made money in the Aussie yen, Swiss yen, Euro yen. It all ended up about break even on those markers. It is nothing to write home about. And the dollar yen did really well because that was like my bigger position. And so I'm fine with it. I didn't have as big of a position as I wanted in the dollar yen because I never got to add to it. I was hoping to add to it up here at 122, just never made it up there. But I do think that we're going to get a bounce from here. Now, obviously, if we have weak ADP, weak ISM data, we're not going back up here. I understand that. I'll be a little bummed out if we don't, but anyway. Okay, so resistance from here. So let's figure out where resistance is. Well, where we're currently at, I'm assuming there's going to be sellers up at 120 because you have to imagine there's people that are stuck right around here that got long and said, "Oh yeah, here we're going to make it. We're back above 120. Or at 120. We're going to start rallying for highs." I'm sure there's people that are stuck long up here, so you're going to see sellers emerge around the 120 level today. I'm assuming. Okay, it's a round number. You're probably going to get some selling up there. I would assume that'd be the case. All right, let's go over to the Canadian. Um, like I said, I've exited half of my dollar Canadian short. I exited half of it like 139.35. My cost average right now is 140.57. That's where my cost average on my short dollar Canadian is. We came really close to hitting new trend lows, but let me tell you something, guys. What will break the U.S. dollar Canadian into new lows? You don't have to answer this. You can just think about it. I'll tell you what's going to break the dollar Canadian into new lows. If crude oil goes to $32, so crude right now is trading at 37. We've been as high today as $31, 30.66. Yeah, we above 31. We start getting towards $32. Actually, we probably, if we just break above $31, the dollar Canadian is going into new trend lows. It's been divergent. I know we've been pointing it out for the last couple of days. I think everybody here is very aware that the Canadian dollar has been outperforming despite crude oil's weakness. So if crude oil goes to $31, the dollar Canadian is going to slump a lot further. We're going to probably, we're probably heading down here. I am going to write down support though today. Support is the low at 139.07. So I'm going to say 139 is support, and I'm imagining right now there are big stops that are building below 139 for longs. Okay, we break through 139, we should see 138.50 really quickly. Okay, so in other words, if this breaks, we should see that really fast because all those stops are going to get triggered right through there. Right through 139. They're all going to be sitting right below 139. And I have to imagine those stops right now are on all the dealers' radar. Every dealer is like, okay, if I can trigger those stops and get long down here, I'm going to make a crap ton of money. I can imagine that's exactly what everybody's thinking right now. Any Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch trader right now who's trading FX, that's exactly what they're thinking. All right, and Barclays, you name it. Doesn't matter. All right. This support is at 140. That is 139.80. That's resistance on the way back up. Okay. We are in a range. Now, when I say range, you guys understand that we've gone from a very, very bullish uptrend, and now we're range environment. I am looking to get long the dollar Canadian somewhere down here. 136, 135. Breakout point here. I'd love to be long the dollar Canadian down here. It's like I'd love to be short the crude oil at $40 or something. It's same trade basically. But I think we're in a range now. We're done with that uptrend. We are now in a range. Kiwi. Like I said, the Kiwi surprised me, surprised the market. Strong employment. I didn't see the participation rate, and somebody this morning said, well, the participation rate fell. That's why employment is so strong. Whatever, I guess. But do you see what the Kiwi has done? It's rallied sharply. The thing is before that, I tweeted this last night. I was actually driving to pick up my kids, but you see the Kiwi ahead of the report. We shot up from 64.80 to 65 cents. We just like kind of launched higher, okay, and then all of a sudden when the number came out, we rallied and then we pulled back pretty quickly. I was like, man, somebody leaked that number, but it didn't matter because we just continued up all night. All right. The Kiwi is, you can see we're still wedging. So this 50% retracement comes in at 66.15. That looks doable this morning. 0.6615. We are in a range. I know you guys go, oh, but it looks so bullish. Yeah, it does intraday, but look at the big range we're in. It's probably going to be a better short up here at 66.80, like here in the next day or two. This would be an ideal place to be on the short side, I think. I might actually short some Kiwi up here, in the next 24 hours if we can get it. Support now, 65.50 is going to offer support because that was the breakout point right there. Right there. That was a breakout point right there. It was actually 65.60, so that should offer some support. 65.60. Okay, let's go over to the Aussie. The Aussie dollar, is underperforming the Kiwi because there's so much selling pressure that came into the Aussie Kiwi overnight, obviously. So here's the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar's got a nice hammer today from 70 cents. Very choppy moves here in the Aussie because we have this inverted head and shoulder pattern, false breakout, stopped some people out. Now we're rallying back. So I think here let's do this. Let me do this. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drawing, remove. Sometimes you just gotta start from scratch, right? Especially this one. This is extremely messy. So I think a couple key things that we need to identify. One would be this. Low, 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 right? Rejection, right? Fib, high, low, 618, rejection. So how important right now is this resistance? It's major resistance. So we have 70 cents, 71.40. If you're an Aussie bear, short it up here. Give you a great entry here for a, short, put your stop right above, good risk reward. If you're an Aussie bull, get long closer to 70 cents, put your stop just below the support and, look for a move higher. I don't know if you want to trade it right now, okay? So 71.40, 70 cents, stay away from it while we're in the middle of it. It's a flipping a coin right now. This is major resistance. We could take on that resistance too, especially if risk appetite improves today. So if stocks continue to bounce, today we could challenge up here. But I think it's kind of a coin toss at the moment. All right, let's go over to the dollar index. Now you can see the dollar index is at risk right now. Trend line. We have really important support right here. I'm going to write down the support as this spike low, but we're actually on pretty key support right now. 98.40. Whoops. $98.42. I mean, look at the euro dollar. I mean, we're at 109.30. We're just continuing to grind higher, right? Resistance. It's tough. I'll be the first one to admit. I don't know. I guess right here. you know, I guess right here for now, but 98.75. I mean, but that's not even good resistance. That's just kind of like, you know, previous support. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just previous support here. So 98.75. Okay. Range. And let's go over to, remember, doing this as quickly as possible, guys. I got 5 more minutes, and then here's the peso. I am short the dollar peso right now. I've got I'm barely out of the money. I've got just a small dollar peso short, so I'm just kind of sitting in it. It's been really choppy. I got asked a little earlier. I forget who asked the question. I don't have time to go back and ask. But asked me do I think the dollar Mexican peso is near a top? I do. I think it's if it's not here at 1870, I think it's closer to 1890, which is 261% extensions on a couple big daily and weekly fibs. Um, so I think even if we hit new highs, it'll be brief new highs. So I'm really not worried about being on the short side of the U.S. dollar Mexican peso right now. I really am not. But I'm hoping we don't see those highs right now. But it has a lot to do with risk appetite at the moment. I don't know if there's anything to do with the peso right now. Even though I have a short position at the moment, if you're talking about trading, as far as getting into a trade, I don't know if there's a good entry point around here. The head and shoulder pattern, I mean, this is a fairly illiquid currency, so that head and shoulder pattern, you could arguably say that we completed it, down here. Okay. High to low. And we rejected here. Oops. We rejected here at the 618. That was good, but where's support from here? It's hard to say. The 618 offers resistance up here at 1853, but I don't know where support is. And I don't know. That doesn't look like there's going to be a great entry here. I think if you get another rally and the peso back up to the 618, I think this will offer great resistance. But what do you do with it right here? Okay. Russia sees rather unlikely that OPEC will meet with non-OPEC countries soon. That's Russia says meeting with OPEC soon seen as unlikely. That comes from Interfax. Okay. That provided a little bit of selling in crude oil, but not really a whole lot. I mean, crude's still holding on to a lion's share of its gains. But I think that's like just a rehash of old news right now. Okay. Let's go over to, sorry guys, I'm going to go over to the Norwegian krona. I do have a small short in the Norwegian krona. Like, I'm barely profitable right now. I'm short at 872. So you can see it's kind of, this is resistance, 875. We talked about it. 860 is support. I think I can write down those two numbers for now, because those are the numbers we've been writing down. 860 is major support, because that is, so you guys see it and you know it. It's that yellow trend line right here. You see it? Okay. It's also a 38% retrace. Let me get rid of this one. We don't need that for now. It's a 38% retracement. All right. 875. 8.75 is resistance. This is still in a bullish trend. Okay. This 875 is still resistance on the way back up. Let's take a look at the Swedish krona. Just consolidating. God, this thing's going to move with the euro. And I told you this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today. If the euro breaks through 110 to the upside, I'm going to start shorting the dollar Swedish krona, just so you all know. All right, guys, here's your bias chart. I'll be back in a few minutes. When I come back, we have Ed and Chris Baer coming in. So exciting webinar coming up. Don't go anywhere. Be back in a few minutes.